in this region. And that has led us to really believe in what we should do to our environment, which has given us natural resources to really make the company where it is today. We really believe that the depletion of these natural resources consumed by our operations must be restored to the environment back again by us before it's too late, so that it could be used in the future by the future generations. Now, this is what really led to the company really creating an environmental management map. This is when we really started what we call our green revolution in the year 2008. And if I really take you through this map, you will see that this is an extremely structured way of going about drawing everyone into a sustainable route, drawing everyone into a very structured methodology in terms of adapting to what we want as a business. So first of all, what we really did was we identified and evaluated all our inputs and outputs of processes in order to quantify the impact to the environment. And in this process, we did calculate at the outset, we did calculate our eco-balance, what we really take in as natural resources and what we emit in terms of harmful gases, wastage into the environment. And thereafter, we've set about setting our reduction targets and so on and so forth. So if I may take you through the first step of the structured approach, like I said before, we understood the impact on the environment of each of our processes. Now, when I say each of our processes, don't forget the fact that we have about 40 to 50 locations in Sri Lanka, India, and Bangladesh. So there is actually an well-established set of engineers that run our energy division in Brandix, and these are the people who really led this exercise through. So what we really did was we collected the data through an eco-caliper system. We looked at all our resource inputs, like I said, the harmful environmental output, and then we analyzed the data. This was probably done in 2007, 2008, because see, as much as you go on this sustainable journey, you have to be sure that you have achieved something, you have given back. So it's very important. I mean, like all of us, like accountants do, it's very important that we really account for what you have done, so that you are aware, and then it gives a pleasurable state to say that you have done something to the environment. So our biggest inputs were the electricity, HFO, diesel, chemicals, and water. HFO is heavy fuel oil. And our business processes are the usual processes that you have in any industry. You know, you have cutting, sewing, finishing, and then dye houses that take you through all the processes. And then the outputs are the greenhouse gases, other harmful gases, sludge, waste, water, and so on and so forth. So this we actually computed, and we have a system called EcoEye, where we really look at this component year on year. So we compute our eco balance through the EcoEye each and every year. Now, beyond this, what we really did was, in 2008, we identified those outputs that give a large impact to the environment, and we set targets to reduce this. So in terms of targets, our highest impact in terms of outputs were greenhouse gases from electricity consumed and the fossil fuel burning, then the resource depletion through our water consumption, and waste from all the activities that we do in-house. So our goals that we set in 2008 were broadly categorized into 3 areas. In terms of air, we said we will reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by this year, 2012. Water, we said we will reduce consumption from a 65 liter per day per head to a 35 liter per day per head by 2012. And earth, we said by 2012 we will attempt to go zero waste to landfill in all our processes. Now, thereafter, what did we really do? We can't just achieve it just like that. You set goals and you have to keep on doing things. So since 2008, we have been selecting and implementing a lot of cleaner technologies to reduce environmental impact in our processes. I'll just take you through a few of them, a few, but a long list. We have in quite a lot of our locations, we have energy efficient chillers. We put steam mini traps, capacity bankers, skylights, LED task lights actually, sensors, and then all our dye houses and our processing houses have very efficient boiler systems. We converted quite a lot of the boilers that we had, the conventional ones, to very efficient boiler systems. Then we do a lot of rainwater harvesting, especially in Sri Lanka, in all our processing zones, and the one we have in India, which is a large scale investment that we've done. And we all have water purification systems as well. So these are some of the investments, some of the latest technologies that we brought in to the business so that you get the envisaged result. Now there onwards, once again I said you have to be aware, you have to be able to account for what you really do. So we do have an accounting inventory to assess our capital invested with the payback periods. We do that quite regularly. That's seriously done right from the top of the organization, right from our CEO of the group, right downwards. And we maintain our carbon inventory to record greenhouse gas emissions and reductions year on year. We also put out a sheet, or 2 sheets rather, internally circulated, which is like a balance sheet where we account for the environmental aspects. And we also do carbon footprint reports year on year. So these are very pleasing to have each year when you see the results. And I would say the results of all this, we have 2 results that we have really brought in to the group. One is we've got many green buildings. We've converted most of our plants. Actually, we have got 4 plants that is accredited by the US Green Building Council, which is a well-renowned, world-renowned council for accreditations. We have 4 LEED certified plants, and I'll just take you through some of these plants. We have the privilege of having the world's first apparel unit that is platinum rated by the Green Building Council. This is in Sri Lanka, and we've got the flagship underwear plant in Koggala, which uses very efficient chillers, processing skylights, sensor lights in terms of apparel manufacture, which once again is LEED certified by the US Green Building Council. We've got our underwear unit in India, in Visakhapatnam, which is also accredited, and we've got a development center that is in Sri Lanka, which is the first office that is green LEED certified in the country by the US Green Building Council. So this is just a few of the results that we've had in terms of green buildings. Now, if you look at what really matters to our brands that we serve, to the consumer that buys our clothing through brands, one more result that we brought in is that we've used sustainable raw material quite a bit into our products. Now, 2 of those examples one is the organic cotton. That is cotton that is grown without using any synthetic agricultural chemicals. We use quite a bit of this so that the consumers are attracted more to the label that carries saying organic cotton used. And then this obviously gives a better payback for our brands in turn. Another raw material that we use is BCI cotton. This is more of a program that is run by a few organizations, but it's called Better Cotton Initiative. And many customers right now, many of our brands insist that we go for this. Now, we haven't really, as a company, we haven't really waited for our brands to ask us to go for this. We have evolved in this journey, and we've done a lot of research. We've aligned a lot of research into bringing out results, and today we are able to really convert most of our products to use sustainable raw material in all the product categories that we manufacture. So these are some of the results that we have seen internally. Now, to the environment, what have we brought as a benefit? We believe we have, I gave you the goals that we had to achieve. So by 2011, in 2011, we have actually achieved the 30% reduction. We have reduced CO2 emissions by 28,000 metric tons over the last 4 years. In terms of water usage, we have reduced our water usage by 147 million liters across the 3 countries. Earth, I said zero waste to landfill. We've reached, in most of the cases, zero waste to landfill. All our food waste is minimized. We in fact monitor per person how much waste goes into the bin after the person really eats. That level of monitoring happens at all our canteens. So food waste is minimized to 8 grams per meal per head, which this was way above. Actually, you should go back home and then see, you must try and weigh how much of food that you take onto your plate that is really wasted. We have this policy where we don't really now serve the meal. We get the person to self-serve, so that you take only what you require. And that's something that makes you really conscious of what you put as waste to landfill. 40% of our thread cones used in all our plants are reused. 100% of our fabric is recycled, fabric waste is recycled. All the paper, cardboard, polythene, plastics that we use across all our plants is recycled. And this is consciously done. There are policies laid out in the company. This is taken extremely seriously at a corporate level. We go to the social benefits. What have we really achieved? We have embarked on a campaign to bring awareness to our associates called Go Green and Live Green. So we do quite a lot of things, projects year on year, so that people feel that you should really get it into your DNA. And until you're aware and you're conscious of the fact that you are part of this sustainable journey, we would keep on doing different projects in this scale. So these are this is one of the social benefits that we have really brought in. A second benefit is that we have a lot of interactive activities such as Earth Hour, quizzes, competitions that we really try to share in terms of best practices within the company. And they really take things like this home and try to implement that in their households. The third one is we do share our learnings, best practices quite a bit with schools and universities in the country, and also foreign delegations through workshops and sessions. And the fourth most important thing we feel is that we have spread this message across quite a bit in the industries and in the vicinity of our plants. We have internships to students at Brandix Environmental Division, and we give practical exposure. So there are people whom we actually employ for 6 months on internship basis, where they go back to the environment and they can really adopt or they can really make use of these policies. So these are some of the social benefits. Now, my topic is actually not to really give the social benefits or the environmental benefits. It's to say what is the economic development or the economic benefit that we have really gained out of this journey. Now, we did not embark on this journey to really gain an economic benefit, because we were very conscious of the fact that we were anyway we do have a good top line and a bottom line, so we are conscious of it. But it's just a matter of us being very conscious that we do use a lot of natural resources. That's why we embarked upon it. However, in this process, you do get a lot of benefits. For example, despite fuel and electricity prices rising by almost 50% last year, and despite our production expanding in all 3 countries, we have had a 8% reduction in our utility bill. These are all quantified. I have 2 accountants sitting here from my company, so they can probably say the quantification as well if required. But this is all quantified. This is not a substantial benefit, I would say. The substantial benefits that we have received as a company, one is that we have positioned the region, and especially Sri Lanka, as an ethical partner compared to many others, drawing major apparel brands into the region to place business in the region, especially in the country. The second one is the fact that we have aligned most of our customers' sustainability goals with ours has resulted in an edge over competition from other countries, where once again there has been huge business growth in terms of apparel in the country using this sustainable journey. Now, one such example I would like to share with you and close up my session. Marks & Spencer, my colleague actually brought this out, is one of the UK's leading retailers. All of you know they are into clothing, home products, food, with around 21 million consumers, 21 million customers actually walking into their stores every week. That's the number. They have been actually named the most sustainable major retailer in the world, according to the latest press release on the 7th of June this year. Now, M&S actually embarked on their sustainability journey in 2007, 5 years ago. And this was a platform that they really used as the primary platform on how they do business. Now, so many brands do business using different platforms. Some people use the price platform, some people use the new product technology platform, some use differentiation in terms of bringing innovation, but they claim that they use the primary platform as the sustainability, and they call their project Plan A. Now, what we did was we actually aligned our goals. By that time, it coincided that we really started our work also in 2007. So we sort of aligned it to their goals as well. And this is what we've done so far with them. So they had 3 pillars. They looked at climate adaptation. Our goals on air, water, and waste to landfill was sort of aligned to their goal. Then they had a goal on sustainable raw material. By this time, we were anyway into sustainable raw material. So by now, all the knit product, that is in terms of underwear, in terms of sleepwear, in terms of loungewear, that go into Marks & Spencer from Brandix today is using BCI cotton. Other than the white colors where there is a lot of contamination. This is very technical, I won't go into it, but with contamination in it, because you don't use pesticides or anything. So a lot of purification does not happen in this BCI cotton. So therefore, you can't use it in whites. But worldwide, we have been using BCI cotton in all the products that we give Marks & Spencer. On our major woven pants programs with Marks & Spencer, we have converted majority of our programs into BCI cotton. And in terms of energy efficient manufacturing, that was another pillar they use. We have 4 Plan A accredited plants, 2 in Sri Lanka, 1 in India, 1 in Bangladesh, which produce for Marks & Spencer. Now, these are some of the things that we were able to do with a very, very little investment, because we had already engaged in this process. So this was nothing new to us as well. Now, the economic benefits that we have got purely from only one customer. Our business with Marks & Spencer has doubled over the last 5 years. We are the largest vendor globally supplying their men's essentials, which is their men's underwear. We hold about 75% of their stake in Brandix. We are the largest vendor to their kids' underwear in the first year of engagement with Marks & Spencer. We provide 50% of the ladies' pack underwear business to them. We are a key vendor for their woven pants business. We have won 3 awards within 1 year with Marks & Spencer, purely based on this sustainability route. We were adjudged the best newcomer for kids wear last year in September. We won a People Award for the community services, for the sustainability journey that we have done for our people, for our communities from Marks & Spencer. And then they had, after their 5 years was completed, this April, they had a conference on Plan A, which was actually to really award all the vendors who have gone on this sustainability journey along with them. And we were adjudged the Plan A Supplier of the Year award globally for all the product categories. So that shows the amount of work that you can really do and in this process, the amount of economic benefits that you can really get. So like I said before, this is actually my last slide before the final one. Like I said before, we are very committed to restore the natural resources used in our business operations back to the environment, and we are consciously going on a journey that we believe is the future of any industry in this region as well as the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranga. It's an excellent presentation. I'm sure that you all would have seen practically how things have been happening. And I'm sure that you can take something back to your own working place, even your home, and you can see whether you could adapt, especially about saving energy and things like that. Water, can you see that the amount of water that we have saved, which is very important. Thanks, Ranga, for the excellent presentation. Next presentation is from Rizvi Zahid. Rizvi is one of the directors of Haley's PLC. Let me take you through his profile briefly. He is the Executive Director, Haley's PLC, and Chairman of the Haley's Group Agriculture Sector. And he has joined Haley's PLC in the year 1981, and Director, Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, member of the main Executive Committee of Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, member of the National Council for Economic Development Agricultural Cluster, Council member of the Sri Lanka Council for Agricultural Policy Research, and primary and secondary education at Royal, he says, and BA on degree. And there are so many things. I think I just picked up certain important things. Probably, I don't know whether this profile is there with you. Anyway, I'm sure that he will also take us through his experience through one of the conglomerates in this country. Over to you, Rishi. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, for those words of introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lakshman Vatawala, President, CMA Sri Lanka. My purpose and objective of this session is to firstly use my experience in Haley's, leading the agriculture sector, to talk to you about the issues particularly relating to sustainability. As you know, agriculture is a science or an art or a way of life that can use a lot of resources, and there is a lot of attention on how agriculture can be sustained. So I will draw on my experience within Haley's in this area. But I would also like to give some perspective about the issues in agriculture and put into context agriculture in the modern day. As all of you know, agriculture is something that has seen changes in terms of the way people over the world have used the natural resource, land, water, etc., subsistence farming, various types of organized farming as well. But one thing is very certain, and that is that the amount of land available in our globe is finite. But the needs of the human race is increasing with increasing population, increasing per capita incomes, and so therefore there is always a huge demand for increased outputs, increased amounts of food, increased amounts of milk, increased amount of meats, whether it's through poultry or cattle or even marine resources. So there is always these pressures on the environment, pressure on resources, and this brings us sometimes into conflict. And over the years and in recent times, a lot of attention has been spent on how agriculture can be made sustainable. So the theme of my presentation would be sustainable development in agriculture, and I'd like to share some thoughts with you. But firstly, let us look at some of the key elements that governs agriculture today in the present day. As you know, globally and even nationally at all levels, people are looking at a consistent agricultural framework. For example, in Sri Lanka, as you know, from 1977 onwards, Sri Lanka went, like a lot of developing countries, on a rapid path of industrial development. And agriculture, because of its contribution to GDP or the potential to contribute to economic growth, did not receive a lot of attention. Sri Lanka was no example in that period, 1977 onwards, as those of you who were students of economics or even good citizens would recall. But Because of a lot of issues, agriculture has got a renewed attention. I'll come to that with my next comment or the next element. But if you take Sri Lanka, for example, and I'm sure the same is true with a lot of countries in Asia as well, governments have focused on having appropriate, consistent agricultural frameworks in terms of policies, in terms of even subsidies. If you look at even countries like the US or Japan, they give a lot of attention in terms of policy directives, subsidies, etc. And Sri Lanka has had no exception. Today, we spend nearly 60 billion rupees on a fertilizer subsidy to help support agriculture in Sri Lanka. Similarly, there are various other policy initiatives that support agriculture in Sri Lanka. At the same time, sometimes there are inconsistencies. For example, governments have to contend with rising cost of living. For example, when potato production in Sri Lanka is very low, then the government tends to allow imports of potatoes, and that brings it into conflict with the local producers who don't get fair prices sometimes. Same with that. In India, there have been situations of shortages, for example, of onions, etc., which cause lots of issues. So these have to be addressed by a consistent agricultural policy framework that will support agricultural production, that will stabilize prices. So I think this is very important, and I think all students, whether you are from the accounting fraternity or understanding the basics of business, need to understand. Because the role here is for all of us to lobby. If there is no consistent agricultural framework, I'm sure as good stakeholders, we have an onus and a responsibility to engage with governments, with policymakers, to have consistent and clear agricultural policy framework that supports sustainable agriculture. Food security is an important topic, and in Sri Lanka this gets a lot of attention. No less than His Excellency the President chairs a monthly meeting on food security which addresses this. Globally as well, everybody is very conscious. Governments are very conscious because there are groupings, there are economic groupings, there is a lot of demand for resources, commodity prices go up and down, and nation states have to take care of food security. So this is something that drives agriculture as an important area. Even in Sri Lanka, agriculture is still an important part of the GDP. Food security is a concern that is important to all because somebody has to take care of the availability of food. If there isn't enough rice, people go through famines. There are countries, for example, in Africa and others that have had situations where food security has threatened the fabric of those societies. Now, this is an important concept that's linked to sustainable agriculture, and it is a supply chain concept. I will talk about this briefly and take an example within Haley's, where we have used the concept of a sustainable supply chain in order to grow a business in agriculture in a balanced way, taking care of the environment, taking care of the stakeholders, taking care of the farmers, taking care of the growers, the needs of the company's shareholders and stakeholders, and finally, the consumers as well. I'll talk to that, about that in a while. Another element is that for agricultural production, you need ease of factor mobilization, and land is always important for agriculture. Sri Lanka also has many issues. If you want to get land for agricultural production, it's not very easy. So there are lots of issues. It is not very different in other countries as well. So with labor and capital, there are labor shortages. Of course, these need to be addressed with mechanization, etc. And today, of course, a lot of interest is coming into agribusinesses, and capital is coming into it. There are many conferences in Asia where investment in agriculture is discussed extensively. I'll talk about efficient use of resources as well when we go along. We need to bring a lot of technology, and technology has come in a lot into agriculture to make more productive use of land. And last but not least, of course, is care for the environment. Let me talk about agricultural supply chains for a few minutes. An agricultural supply chain is very simple in terms of definition. It's a process or a path by which a primary agricultural product, which can be a vegetable or it can be a grain, goes through various transformation and finally ends up as a finished good on the plates in our homes as a food, as a finished product. Globally, there are lots of opportunities which have led to creation of very strong sustainable supply chain. People want fresh product now. They want it delivered to their doorstep. Markets have expanded. Sales are increasing for value-added agricultural products. The expansion of channels like the modern trade, supermarkets. Even in Sri Lanka, we see it. If any of you go into any of our supermarkets, you have a wide variety of fresh produce, new types of vegetables come in, button mushrooms, bell peppers, and all of that, which increases, requires improvement in agricultural production. Costs are always a factor, and I'm sure accountants work on rigorous models in monitoring margins, etc. And finally, coordinated supply chains result in production of high-value products, and I'll talk to you about that in a little while. Organic products also very important today with fair trade, ready-to-eat products. And importantly, agricultural supply chains, when well constructed and crafted, provide strong insights into changing consumer demands. I'll come to explain that also via an example. Now, one of the important things in a supply chain is the economic sustainability, because whoever invests in agriculture requires a return. And for that, we need to look at all of the factors, including market linkages. How do you link markets so that you have sustained income flows? Pricing and cost management is important. Innovation is critical, particularly because in an agricultural supply chain, you constantly have to bring in new cultivation methods, you have to bring in new crops, etc., in order to offer interesting propositions to customers. Agricultural extension services are very important because new technologies, particularly for farmers, today there is a lot of development in areas like biotechnology. India, for example, experimented with biotechnology cotton, and they have made great progress. They have tried to bring a biotechnology, a BT, a brinjal, but that's meeting with a lot of resistance in India. There are various groups, etc., but we will come to those factors in a minute as well.